Hi, my name is Chelisea, pronouns she, her, hers, and I'm with UW-Stout's Office of Research and Sponsored Programs. This video is part of ORSP's Fact 5 series that answers students' questions about doing research as part of their education at UW-Stout. Joining me is Lydia Skoglund of UW-Stout's Writing Center. Welcome.
Thank you. And yes, I also use she, her, hers.
Thank you. Well, today we're going to address a common question that students have when it comes to submitting a research grant proposal, and that is, how do I write an abstract? So before we get into the how, let's start with what. So Lydia, can you tell us what is an abstract?
Absolutely. So I think it's really easy to get confused or even overthink abstracts, but really they are just a summary of your entire project. So they're short, they're sweet, and usually somewhere between 100 to 300 words. I like to think of them as a miniature version of my paper.
And when would students need to write an abstract?
Yeah, so abstracts are used in a lot of different ways. At Stout, students use abstracts within their various courses when they're applying for grants from the ORSP and when they're searching for or evaluating different sources for a variety of reasons. But in general, if you want to publish or present your work at a conference or in a journal, you'll need to write an abstract.
So multiple uses for abstracts. So let's get to the main question. What's a good process for writing an abstract?
Yeah, so when you start out your abstract, there are some general items that you'll most likely include, but overall, you want your abstract to match or follow the topics that are in your paper. So typically, you'll start with a general introduction to your topic or subject, and this first sentence or two should be worded in a way that most audiences can understand. Then after that, you can go into a bit more detail about the questions or problems the work will address. And from there, you might go into a bit about other research on the subject, the methods used in your project, the results that you got, and then the conclusions or your argument. And these will typically appear in that order, so literature review, methods, results, conclusion, but they should follow the same order as your paper. So if they appear differently in your paper, then follow that. And if you don't have all of those pieces in your paper, then don't include them in your abstract. So like I said earlier, it really is like a miniature version of your paper. And the last thing that you should definitely include is a statement of significance. So you can hint at this earlier in the abstract if you have the space, but you should really include a sentence or two that shows the reader why they should care about this project and what its significance is. So these pieces of your abstract will almost always be there in some way, but the order and details can change based on your needs. And just like there are general things to include in an abstract, there are also general writing rules to follow. So, like I mentioned before, the best way to think about an abstract is that it should just follow along with your paper. So, of course, this also means that you have to do your abstract at the end of your project. So, even though it appears at the beginning of the document, you'll write it last. And I mentioned it earlier, but abstracts can be different between disciplines, so you really want to be checking guidelines for your individual abstract. And that could be, like I said, with your discipline, but also with professors and different publications. However, across all disciplines, abstracts should be written in a style that is very clear, it's short, and it's objective. So this helps you get your point across and keep the abstract short. There's no need to really get fancy with the abstract, and by just following these simple tips and keeping it straightforward, it will give you the best results when writing it. And of course, if students need any additional help with abstract writing, they are always welcome to stop by the Writing Center, which is in Harvey Hall.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Lydia. That's our time. And we want to encourage all students to reach out to the Writing Center or ORSP with any questions that you might have. Thank you.